Hi everyone, welcome to Chemistry 222. I want to introduce myself. My name is Maddie, and I'm going to be filming a video today with India Lavas. We're going to show you how to use the IR instrument. We're going to be analyzing liquid samples and solid samples. So when you get to lab, you're going to be paired up, and as a pair, you're going to get a liquid and a solid sample. This is after you've watched the video, so you'll be well versed on how to use the instrument and the steps that you'll need to go through to analyze the data. To comply with social distancing guidelines that Skidmore's put in place and by New York State, we are only going to allow one person at the IR at a time. So you and your partner are going to work together, but you're each going to be at the IR analyzing your respective samples alone. So we want to make sure all of you guys are prepared. So we created a step-by-step video showing how we would process a liquid and solid sample respectively. We really hope this video helps. And feel free to take notes. It'll be really helpful when you go about doing it on your own. All right, this is going to be the setup you see in lab. You can see India's wearing her personal protective equipment, which is required for everyone in lab. The setup includes a monitor, the IR instrument with the arm and the force knob, which will be necessary for analyzing solid compounds. Next to it, we have some clean cotton balls, wooden splints, and a beaker for used cotton balls and splints. We also have acetone for cleaning. So one of the first things that we are going to do is we are going to clean the instrument. We do this before and after taking a sample. We take a small piece of cotton, put some acetone on it, and clean it from the center outwards in a circular motion. And make sure before you proceed that all of the acetone has evaporated so it won't change any of your data. The first step we're going to take in getting spectral data on our compound is opening up the OmniX software. When you open it up, and generate this page, you will see in the upper left-hand corner on the gray panel a Collect Sample button. When you click it, you will be prompted to enter in a title for your spectrum. For us, we're naming it Test, but for you guys and for your reporting purposes, you will need to name it your first and last initial dash the page number of your notebook. Now you're ready to take your background scan, so go ahead and click OK. At first, it's going to seem like nothing is happening, but if you look in the bottom left-hand corner, there's a progress bar. When that gets to 16, your background scan is complete and a pop-up will show up. When the instrument has finished its background scan, this is the pop-up you will see. Do not press OK. It's taken a background scan of the air and is now ready for your sample. The first sample that we're going to show you how to do is a liquid sample. For your liquid sample, you're going to use a very small pipette full, and you don't need a force knob for this because you only use it for solids, and you're going to just cover the center of the crystal. For especially volatile liquids, when you're taking your spectra, you may need to add more as it's scanning. Just be aware of how volatile it is. As you can see in the bottom left-hand corner, the progress bar is still there, and that's how long it will take for your spectral scans to be completed. As I said before, you need to keep an eye on how quickly your sample is evaporating. We needed to add more because our sample was evaporating while we were taking our spectral scan. Once you finish collecting data, a pop-up will show up in the corner and you will click Yes to add window 1. This is your spectra. This is the spectra of your product. And the next thing that we're going to have to do is we're going to have to save it to the organic chemistry folder. So we're going to click File and Save. You are now going to enter in the same title that you had at the very beginning and save it to your organic chemistry folder, CH222 Fall 2020, and depending on where you are, Thursday AM or PM. So the next thing that we are going to do is we are going to pick the peaks for your sample. You're going to learn a little bit more about this in lecture. You're going to click the Find Peaks button, and when you click on the screen, that is how you move the bar. If you try and drag it, it won't move. So you want to click as low as you can on your spectra so you can get all the peaks. And then click Replace in the upper right-hand corner. This saves your data. This saves your peak numbers. If you feel like you missed some, you can always go down to the little T in the bottom left-hand corner. And that's where you can pick specific peaks. We have 3 more things that we need to do before we finish up this process and move on to the solid sample. 2 of them are explained, 1 of them isn't. The first is that we need to print this for your lab notebook. You go to File, Print, and then you click Preferences. After you click Preferences, you're going to need to go to Effects. In Effects, we can change the scale of the spectra on the paper, and you're going to scale it down to 60% of the actual size. That way you can cut it off the piece of paper and put it directly in your lab notebook. The next thing that you're going to do is you're going to need to save the spectra as a .tiff file. So go to File, Save As, .tiff, and then you will need to move that into your Box account so you can have that file for your lab reports. The last thing that we need to do to wrap this process up is to clean the IR. We do this the same way that we did in the beginning by using an acetone cotton ball and cleaning from the inside of the crystal outwards. Make sure to put everything in the proper receptacle and you're all set. The initial steps of collecting a background, naming your spectra, and cleaning the IR are the same for a solid sample, so please feel free to go revisit those clips to understand how to do those. Right now, we're collecting our background. So this is where the procedure deviates a little. After you collect your background just as the same, do not click OK. You want to have your sample on the crystal before you continue. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your wooden splint and gather a very small quantity of your solid sample. You just need enough to cover the crystal. After you've positioned your solid sample in the middle of the crystal, you're going to put the arm over the sample and turn the force knob all the way down until the arm is over the sample and basically crushing it. You're going to hear some clicks from the force knob, and that's how you know it's all the way down. This is when you click OK and run the spectra again, just as you did with the liquid sample. And just like how you've done it with the liquid sample, you're going to hit Yes, Add to Window 1. You're going to find your peaks by clicking the Find Peaks button, and always, always, always click Replace after you found all of your peaks. Make sure after you click Replace to save your spectra to two places. You're going to save it to the organic chemistry folder in the AM or PM sections, depending on which class you're in, and you're going to save it as a .tiff file. That file you are going to move into your shared Box account. That way you can always have that spectra for your lab reports. You can copy and paste that spectra into your lab reports and have an electronic copy. Make sure to print a copy as well for your lab notebooks. You're going to need that information. The last thing that we are going to do is we're just going to clean the IR instrument. And we're going to do that the same way that we did with the liquid sample. There's only one difference. We also need to clean the arm because that was touching our sample. If we don't clean the arm, there's a possibility that the next person that uses it, or even if we are using it again next for a different sample, that part of the previous sample could get on it and change our data. So remember, you're going to put acetone on the cotton ball and move in circles from the center of the crystal outwards. Make sure as well that when you're cleaning it, you also take the cotton ball and go and clean the bottom of the arm, the part that was touching your sample. And that is how you do IR, everyone. Thanks, India.